Hey, what's up everyone? We have this Dewalt here. I don't remember what it is. It's an air compressor. Oh, there it is. D55146. And specifically, there's a couple different types. This is a Type 9. If you were to look it up, it's going to tell you, like, I think there's 10 or 11 or 12, something like that types. The reason why you have to look that up is the reason why we're working on it. The owner says the machine will work, however, it will not stop building pressure. I'm assuming that would mean the pressure regulator is bad. Now on this machine, it's not all one unit. It's on some, there'll be like a hose coming from the tank going to like this plate that will disconnect the power to turn it off. This one, from what I've did a little research on, isn't the same. So I don't 100% know where everything is. I think the good idea is to jack up the table, put the compressor on its side so we could take off this plate. Yeah, I think we might be avoiding that actually. From the looks of it, this doesn't actually have anything that we would need to get access to by removing that plate, so we're going to be working in confined areas here. I think what we're going to do is take off this plastic cover. Might be a bit of a pain though with that air hose there. It is just kind of clamped on, but I don't have one of those clamps. I don't really like the idea of using any other different types of clamps either. Maybe it's on the other side? Don't know. Well, I guess we don't know until we try. Something is going to kind of bite us as well as this wheel. See that hole? It's super sunk in there. It's like 3 or 4 inches down, and there's really no way to get around it except to take off that wheel. So I'm going to tip this over on side like we originally said, take off that wheel, and then I might put like a spacer or something underneath it. So I had to take off both wheels. There was a couple screws on this side and one on the top on the other side. Real hard, but that whole thing just kind of came off. Now, let me explain why I kind of already know a lot of this. I did look at a parts diagram because I've worked on a few compressors where the revision is actually very, very, very important because the parts will change. Even though it looks like the same compressor, in here it gets all jumbled up. Maybe they make changes, or I don't know, try to screw people over in a patent somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, and the reason why I know that is I already have a pressure switch. According to the package, it's OEM, so that's good. Now, if we look at in fact, let's just open it. If we look at the pressure switch, it just has 2 little posts for electrical connections and area for a hose. So that told me that it needs to be next to some type of hose. Well, I wasn't exactly sure where that would have to be, so now we're looking into it. Now, it's going to be really hard to tell. Trust me, it's hard for me to see too. But if you look in there, there's a switch. And if you look in the back, in between one of the yellow wires and the switch, actually goes way back there. And that, in turn, goes right here. So, I'm going to struggle a little bit. Try to take this off to a point where we can at least get to that, and then we'll get to work. It does appear we're going to have to disconnect the switch and a whole lot of other stuff. So what I did, I took a Sharpie and I marked one of the wires. That wire is actually the one that is going to the pressure switch. I'm 99% sure that's not really going to matter. In fact, I don't think we will really even be able to wire it wrong. But just in case for this situation, I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to disconnect the rest of them, and then we will continue. It's really hard to see, so I'm just going to kind of explain more of it. On the other end of that is another one of those clamps. Yay. Like I said, I don't have one. I do have an alternative. I think it should be fine, but I just don't really know. I'm still going to try it though. If not, I can go to the hardware store and buy clamps and probably a special set of pliers, because that's how that stuff works. But there is the part. It's not a whole lot of light, not a whole lot of working room. I could remove the hose, but then I have to worry about 2 clamps. I'm not really keen on that one, so I'm going to try to take like a really long screwdriver, try to pry that up so I can gain access to it again. So probably surprised absolutely no one. I couldn't get it, it's just too hard of a space to work in. So I took it off. Something I can say I think might be part of the problem is this is full of water. I don't think this has been drained for a while, but this is our prize. So let's go ahead and start to take this off. I hate these clamps. I don't have the right tools, but more or less you just have to like pry up on this one end and it should come off, more or less. The thing about them is they really love to get you. See what I mean? Probably would help if I had the right tool. Grab a pair of pliers maybe. Not the right type of pliers, but let's see if these at least help. No, I'm gonna work on that. Oh man, that was rough, but I think we found out the reason why. There's no way that was gonna work. It's actually completely plugged in there too, full of junk. So I'm gonna scour around looking for a decent clamp, actually 2 of them, but in the meantime, it should be relatively easy. I mean, all you would really have to do is shove it on there and clamp it down and whatnot. So I'm gonna go around, see what I can find. If not, then I see the hardware store in my future. Actually, no, we need to put this little bracket on there. That's how it gets screwed on to the plastic housing. So we don't want to forget that. Important. Probably not that important, but it should be done. Don't make fun of me too much, but this is the one I was able to find. I know, it's not the greatest, but it is super tight, and I'm hoping that will work. So I'm going to shove this back on, connect everything that was disconnected. If you don't know how, 2 wires go to the switch, 2 wires go to this switch. Hopefully you paid attention to which 2 they were. That's why I marked them. And that's about it. Something I just noticed is these 2 go to the actual power switch. These 2 go to the pressure switch. So they're different, so that's good. But yet again, pay attention and just make sure you don't wire it wrong. Just so no one can say I didn't use the screw. There it is right there. All nice and, screwed in. And yeah, just need to plug in the power switch now. Speaking of that, this is a beefy power cord. This isn't 240, is it? It can't be. No, it shouldn't be. It's impossible for that. I'm sure it's at least like 15 amps or something like that, though. And also, I still have like 1 or 2 screws left to go in, which I might as well do right now while we're talking. But yeah, so when you have this problem, don't be super alarmed about it, because really it's not that big of a problem. Well, you should be all buttoned up. Power switch should be good to go. According to the machine, it should get to 225 psi. These smaller ones usually get pretty high. So it's also a 15 amp, so I'm hoping that this doesn't blow a fuse. Shouldn't, but you never know. I guess there's nothing to do it except to turn it on. Turned it off because it doesn't seem like it's wanting to turn off. It is a little low. We are literally almost right there. Let's say we turn it on for like 5 more seconds, and if it doesn't turn off by itself, we try it again. Oh, there we go. Turned off. Perfect. There's nothing to say those gauges are 100% either. Now this is the super fun part. Cover your ears. In fact, this noise is super annoying to me. I'm even going to put earplugs on because I just don't like it. I also do it with a screwdriver because that's what I do. Oh no. Can I not do it with a screwdriver? Whew. It gets me every time. I hate that noise. So I don't use air tools. Well, better keep doing it. Except this time it's not 225 psi full of pressure. I do this because I don't know how much water's in here. The only reason why I even do that is because I don't like giving a pressure tank full of compression and air and, you know, water potentially to a customer. So this is good to go. If you're having this problem, pressure switch. It's not hard to install, but it's definitely not easy to necessarily get to. But as long as you have a little bit of patience, it's not that bad. Now, the clamps do seem to be holding. I did not hear any air escaping, so that's good. But if you have one of these, it is a AB-9063290. It's a pressure switch. The hard part with these machines is not if they don't stop, it's if they don't start. If they don't start, you could be running into motor issues. But everything looks good. Everything doesn't... Yeah. Everything looks good. I don't hear any hissing like I said before. I don't like the fact there's not a ground lug on that plug, but whatever. And yeah, so I'm going to leave you at that. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram as SmallEngine101. If this is something that helped you out, put a thumbs up. That will definitely help me out. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. And I'll see you in the next one. You have a good rest of your night.